Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. How are you, children? How is everything happening at your end? Hope so that everything is going fine. Okay, now the topic that we are going to learn right now is IDE, as I promised earlier. But before I move on to this topic, let's talk about a few terms that we need to know. The first term is source code, and the second term is object code. What is source code and what is object code? What is coming to your mind when you hear these terms? Okay, now I hope that you all can recall the terms high-level language, low-level language, assembly language, machine code. So if you have any query, any ambiguity, then you can go through the video that is dealing with the levels of language also, so that all the ambiguities are being cleared. But what is source program actually? The language, for example, I'm using high-level language, for example, Python, to write down the code. And that code that I am typing is called the source code. Or maybe a programmer who is well-versed with assembly language, he's writing down the code using his own skills, that will be called the source code as well. Remember, does a computer understand the source code readily? What can you recall? Is it able to understand? Yes, no, it is not. What it understands is, if you can recall, it only understands the binary code, the machine code, and this is called the object code. So once I have written the program using source code, once I've written the source code using any of the languages, then that program needs to be translated, or you can say it should be compiled or interpreted so that basically it should be compiled so that the computer can understand it easily. Now, this is the object code, the one that is readily understood by the computer, which it can work on, which is generated from the source code after going through the compilation process. Then that is called the object code, and definitely it is available to be used for any purpose, like for example for being available to the end users. And I hope that these two terms are very much clear to all of us before we proceed on. Before we proceed, any questions, any ambiguities? Source code is what the humans write, the programmers write. Like even if you are writing down the program, that is also called the source code, which is not understood by the computer. What we do is we generate the object code. Fine? Now, another thing is the types of errors. By the way, we all generate different errors. The first error is the syntax error. The second error is the logic error. And the third error is the runtime error. So you need to know the three terms and their definitions so that you can understand and answer the questions regarding the types of errors also. The first one is syntax error, the second one is logic error, and the third one is runtime error. What is syntax error? Whenever you have made a mistake in the grammar of a source program, maybe you have misspelled a word, or you maybe have written something in the wrong position, then this kind of error is called syntax error. Like actually you have violated the principles that need to be used whenever writing down the program, and that is called the syntax error. Whenever you are writing down the code, be very, very cautious. But one thing that is really interesting is the syntax errors are understood very easily by the compiler or by the interpreter, because that is because you have not written maybe the spelling properly, or you have not followed the principles of writing down the rules of the grammar. So definitely that will be immediately understood that something is there. It will be flagged, and the syntax error will be generated immediately on the screen. So that is something, and definitely you will be getting some, if you can recall, you'll be able to figure out that what is the mistake that you have made in the program. And they need to be corrected immediately if you want that program to be executed, because any program that has syntax error will never ever be executed. So if you want to make that program work, it should be all the syntax errors should be removed from the program. Now, an example of Python program is being given, definitely you will be learning inshallah Python programming also. But the syntax of a Python program says that after the if, you need to use the colon sign, and same goes for else also. So if you have forgotten to place the colon sign here, then definitely that will be flagged as a syntax error. And that need to be corrected immediately if you want that program to be executed properly. Remember, syntax errors need to be corrected if you want them to be executed. The next one is logic error. What is logic error? Errors in the logic of program. For example, if you wanted to add two numbers, but by mistake you have used the symbol of multiplication or any other symbol, then definitely this is basically logic error. It will not give you the result at all. And for that reason, what we need to do is we need to perform some sort of testing, and then we use some test data. By the way, another topic that we need to know is the testing of the program for using test data. And we have learned the different types of test data strategies like normal, abnormals, extreme, and boundary. So if you have any questions regarding this, any problems regarding this, and again, there is another video that is available regarding the types of test data, which you can go through, and you'll be able to clear your concepts regarding the testing as well. Now, I'm repeating, when you have done some mistake in the logic of the program, when your program is not doing what it is supposed to do, and that will definitely be seen when you are testing. So once you test the program, only then you'll be in a situation to know that some logic error has occurred, and definitely you'll be able to remove that error once the testing phase is over. Again, you can see, again, an example of Python is taken. Now, actually, if direction equals to n, then what we actually wanted was we must have increased the value of y. We must have written y equals to y plus 1, and by mistake, or maybe anything may have happened, the programmer or the student or anyone who is writing in the program had written y equals to x plus 1. So definitely, once you are doing this activity yourself, you will come across that it is not going to do the work as you desired. And this will only be possible, either you're very cautious, you can see for yourself that some mistake has been made in the program, or you run the program, you put in some data values, you put in some test data, and only then you'll be in a position to know that some error has occurred. Any questions regarding syntax or logic error? I hope that is very much clear. Errors in the logic of the program is called logic error. Now, the third one is runtime error. And what is runtime error? It happens when the program is executed and the program may halt unexpectedly. Like you check your program, there was no syntax error. You place some test data, still there was no mistake. Your program was running properly. What happened is still the program had halted. The program had stopped working, or it may go into an infinite loop. This loop will never terminate. This loop will never stop. And this is called my runtime error. For example, division by 0. Like I had something in my denominator. I tested with all the values, but due to any reason, I forgot to put in the denominator value as a 0. So definitely I was not able to figure out that this is the error that needs to be, I can say, also seen. I need to be testing this also. So then this kind of error that has actually resulted in program, everything was free of error. Still, the program had stopped, and this is called runtime error. I think it's very simple. Program is being tested in IDE, then the type of error may be managed, and a suitable error can be given just to ensure that it is devoid of even the runtime errors. Are you clear? Any questions regarding the errors before we proceed to the actual topic for today, and that is IDE, Integrated Development Environment? Yes, children, any questions regarding the source code, the object code, the three types of errors like runtime error, syntax error, and the logic error? If you have any query, then you can write it in the chat window, or you can raise your hand and then question. Okay, that's great. None. Let's move on to the topic of IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Before I explain you IDE, let me ask, is there anyone, or maybe some of you may have programmed HTML? You have designed the website using HTML, although there are different ways. So if you can recall, some of you must have learned this. So what we do is we use two programs. The first one is Notepad, which we use for typing the code, if you can recall. And we use another browser that is going to do the same. What will it do? First thing is Notepad for typing. And once you have saved, you're going to open that program in your browser. So this is basically using two software for the same purpose, like for doing the main task. But on the contrary, if I talk about integrated development environment, where there's only one thing that you have to open, you're going to use one thing only, and that will help you a lot because every single thing is going to be done in the same environment. You're going to type your program in the same environment. You're going to execute in the same environment. You are going to debug in the same environment. You can see each and everything happening in the same environment. Fine. So definitely that will be two advantageous. You can simply, that is very beneficial because you can see each and everything in the same environment. Everything is done together in the same place. And there are different IDEs available, and some are supporting maybe one language, programming language. Like for example, if I talk about C language is having its own IDE, and that is meant for C and C++. And then we have you can see there are PyCharm is for Python, Visual Studio is for Visual Basic, or BlueJ is for Java programmers. So there are different IDEs available which you can choose as per your requirement, and you can work on it. Now we are going to learn the different features of IDE. They are mentioned right now here. You need to know their names. You need to, and then I'll be explaining you what they are for. The first one is code editor. The second one is translator, a runtime environment with a debugger, error diagnostics, auto-completion, auto-correction, and auto-documenter, and pretty printing. Now let's learn each of it individually. The first one is code editor. What is code? We have just talked about the source code. What is a code editor doing? It allows me as a programmer to write a program and edit it without the need to use a separate text editor. Like I gave you the example right now of using Notepad for typing the program, saving it, and then moving to the browser, any browser, like whichever you are using, like Google Chrome or whichever you are using, to view the contents, to view how the web page looks like. But on the contrary, here I am using the same environment, the same thing, which is meant by the way, the picture that is shown to you is of Visual Studio, where you are typing in the same environment, and you can edit this in the same environment, and you can view in the same environment also. Everything is done in the same, and definitely that is going to be very easy because you don't have to, you are not bothered to move from one program to another, from one environment to another, one screen to another. Everything is done in the same place. Okay, the first code editor, I hope it's very simple. I explained you once again with the help of the same example of using two programs, Notepad and Google Chrome, to type as well as to view. Second one is translator. By the way, I hope that we all remember translator. Which words strike my mind when I hear the term translator? That's great. And the ones who can see, intelligent ones can see that it's written here also. So we can see translators are going to be a compiler or an interpreter. So what is happening? The IDEs are providing definitely the translation facility, and this can be a compiler only, or it can be a compiler as well as an interpreter. Now that's really interesting. Why it's so? Like if I recall, the ones who will be studying inshallah C or C++ in their future years, they can see that C programmers are normally using the IDE that is providing you the facility of compilation only. You compile the program. And on the contrary, if I talk about Visual Basic programmers, if you can see, we have the facility to interpret the program in the beginning. And once we are okay with our working, then what we do is we compile our program later. And that is needed maybe when I'm in the development phase. I need to just go for the interpretation so that I can see that is the program responding as per my requirement or not. And once I'm happy with my working, then I can actually go for the final compilation process, and so that it can be delivered to the end user. So the second feature of IDE is the translator. And this is being mentioned here. You can see it's going to be giving you the after translation is being done, it will be giving you the result of this hello world on the immediately on the same place. And that is what the feature of IDE is. The next one is runtime. A runtime environment with a debugger. By the way, what is debugger? If you recall the term debug, bug is actually an error of something that is not going to give you the required result, something that is not providing you the required result. And we as programmers need to debug our programs also. So what is a debugger doing? If I am getting the help through my IDE, that will help me in finding out at maybe some steps, or if I set up some breakpoints, or for example, if my program is running fine, perfect. But if I want that at certain time intervals, something is not being done properly, I have inserted some breakpoints. So what happens is with those breakpoints, the advantage is the program will show me at that it will not stop definitely, but it will actually break for certain moments, and then I can see the value of different variables, and through that I'll be in a position to debug the program easily. And a report window is shown to me where the different variables are being shown, and I can see if I move my mouse pointer, I'll be in a position to find out the different values of these variables. And that is what is the runtime environment with a debugger. And through that, I will figure out that if there is any logic error in the program, I'll be able to find out that whether the program is working as I am intending it. Any questions, any ambiguity? Runtime environment with a debugger. You can see while you are running the program, you can still debug. You don't have to quit. You'll be able to still debug your program because you have used the feature of debugging while you're working. Fine. Now, error diagnostics. Definitely, we have talked about the error right now. That is why I have told you what error are. So if, for example, if I am doing the work, I'll be given the suggested corrections also. So that is again a very good feature of an IDE, that while you are doing the work, whatever the program is being typed, so it alerts you, it gives you a suggestion that you have made a mistake, and you can just immediately correct your program, and editing is going to be done immediately rather than finding out the mistake later. And that is again a very important feature, a very, you can say, useful feature, where like for example, if I remember when I was a student, I used to think also, why isn't the program helping me out with the coding? Now this feature of IDE is very helpful, that it will help me out if I'm making a mistake. It will alert me, it will suggest me, I can make the corrections because I'm shown my mistakes in something that is underlined with a red, and that red underline indicates, oh, something wrong. So I'll be correcting it because the suggestions are also given to me. I'll be in a position to figure out, okay, what have I done wrong? And I can make the corrections immediately. Autocompletion. As you can see, autocompletion, the code editors are going to give you the prompts which you can choose from, and the compilation is going to be done later. And you can see the reserved ones are also given to you, and that will help you a lot in completing your task. Your code writing will become very easy because of this auto completion feature. Auto documenter and pretty printing. And what is it actually? You can see for yourself. It is going to explain you the purpose of different commands. I mean, what else you want? It's like a teacher telling you that what the function, what the different purposes are. For example, console.write line. What does it do? I mean, see, such a great help that is given to me by the IDE developers, that they are going to give me this help also, that they will tell me the purpose of different commands, and that is a great help. And next one is, another very important thing is pretty printing. As you can see, a different color is being used for different tasks. And through this, you can figure out, for example, hello world is in different color. And let me tell you one thing, this feature is available in nearly all languages which I have worked in. Like C is also showing with a different color. Same goes for Python also, same is available with other languages also. So every programming language is going to help you with pretty printing. A help given to you with a different color so that you can understand the layout. You can see the difference in the different tasks. Any questions regarding the topic that we have learned till now? None? Okay, that's wonderful. Jazakallah khairan kasira. Allah Hafiz. If you have liked my video, then please subscribe my channel and share it with your friends and family so they all are going to benefit from my channel, from my videos. Allah Hafiz.